My name is Carolyn Fisher. My maiden name is Reynolds. I also had Mary Carolyn Reynolds as my name, perhaps Mary for my mother, although I was born on Christmas Day, December the 25th in 1929. So that was special for me. I think, though, I thought Santa Claus brought me for some reason most of the time. I grew up in Columbia, Tennessee. I'm an only child. That was the Depression time. My father was a pharmacist, and he was buying a drugstore. So that was very important at that time. And I loved being on the square in Columbia, Tennessee, growing up with the community around me. My father was very outgoing, and we had lots of friends, and we knew what was going on in town. And Columbia was a rather small town at that time. My mother was a wonderful homemaker, and I learned to cook and to sew a little bit from her. She made a lot of my clothes as I was growing up and did a great deal of handwork on them, so I felt rather lucky and independent. I never really wanted to have things that looked exactly like everybody else's as a result of that. Now, why Ward Belmont? When I was ready for college, I was a good student and had done very well in Columbia in the high school there, and was looking forward to college. And somehow I did not feel that I was ready to apply to Vanderbilt, which was larger, boys and girls, and I just felt like Ward Belmont would be the best spot for me. And it really was. I had wonderful roommates that I loved, a girl from Texas, and then later a girl from Mississippi. The girl from Texas did not particularly think that Nashville, Tennessee was quite like her home in Texas, and she did not return to school. But I had a wonderful roommate the second year that I was at Ward Belmont from Mississippi. She was in my wedding, and I was in her wedding, and we had a wonderful bond and really enjoyed Martha Houston Reed very much. Well, I thought when I left Ward Belmont that I would go on to Vanderbilt, and I applied and was accepted. But I was dating a young man at Vanderbilt that I had been also dating when he was in high school. He was 2 years ahead of me in school, named John Thomas Fisher, Jr., but his nickname was Buddy. And he grew up in Chattanooga and went to the Baylor School. And I got to go over there to dances when he was a senior, and I thought I had arrived. I went out of town to dances. I lived in Columbia, of course, and Columbia Military Academy was there, and when the dances were at Columbia Military Academy, all of these girls from out of town got to come, and I was envious because I wanted to go out of town to a dance too. So the first real date I had with him, I went to a dance at Baylor with him, and it took. When he graduated from Vanderbilt and I graduated from Ward Belmont, the Army was breathing down his neck, and he knew he was going to be drafted. And we decided that we would just have a wedding instead of my going to Vanderbilt. And that's what happened. But I loved Ward Belmont, and I'm so glad that we can continue this relationship with alumni meetings. It's good to see all the older people that I knew in school and to have them come back. I had wonderful teachers here. I got in Vanderbilt easily because I did well at Ward Belmont. They prepared me for Vanderbilt, and a lot of people have questioned me about that. Well, you got in Vanderbilt? Were you nervous about going? No, because Ward Belmont gave me confidence in my academic work, and I knew a lot of people over there because I had dated Buddy, and I felt that that would have been just fine with me. But I loved Ward Belmont and what they did for me, and I'm always happy to come back. And I'm so proud of the way Belmont College has developed and what they have done to keep the flavor of the Old South right here in this beautiful, beautiful home.
Did you have a favorite teacher or anything like that?
Not particularly. I liked every teacher that I had, and I did well at Ward Belmont, and that's why I got in Vanderbilt, I guess, easily enough. But the academic atmosphere here certainly was a contribution to my willingness to study and work. And I don't think I really studied that hard, but I was prepared. But after all, we couldn't go out during the week. We were captured right here and knew exactly what we were supposed to be doing.